Subic Bay is a bay on the west coast of the island of Luzon in the Philippines, about 100 kilometers northwest of Manila Bay, an extension of the South China Sea. Its shores were formerly the site of a major United States Navy facility named U.S.Naval Base Subic Bay, which is now the location of an industrial and commercial area known as the Subic Bay Freeport Zone under the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority. The bay was long recognized for its deep and protected waters, but development was slow due to lack of level terrain around the bay. History. In 1542, Spanish conquistador Juan de Salcedo sailed into Subic Bay, but no port developed because the main Spanish naval base would be established in the nearby Manila Bay. When the British captured this base in 1762, the Spanish were forced to find an alternate location, and Subic Bay was found to be a strategic and superb port location. In 1884, King Alfonso XII of Spain decreed that Subic was to become a naval port and the property appertaining thereto set aside for naval purposes. Quote, in 1899, during the Philippine-American War, the Americans captured the Spanish base and controlled the bay until 1991. During this period, the naval facilities were greatly built up and expanded, including a new naval air station that was built in the early 1950s by slicing the top half from a mountain and moving the soil to reclaim a part of Subic Bay. In 1979, the area under American control was reduced from 24,000 hectares to 6,300 hectares when the Philippines claimed sovereign rule over the base. Following the destruction of the 1991 Mount Pinatubo eruption, the Americans closed the base, and the area was transformed into the Subic Bay Freeport Zone. In 2012, controversy arose when a contracted shipping firm was accused of dumping toxic waste into Subic Bay. Mount Guardian, one of the vessels owned by a Malaysian firm, had collected some 189,500 liters of domestic waste and about 760 liters of bilge water from the U.S. Emery Land, an American Navy ship. Since the Malaysian firm was contracted by the U.S. Navy, albeit under Philippine approval, this incident ignited anti-American sentiments in the Philippines from a single militant group. Pamulaclacan Nature Park. The Pamulaclacan Nature Park is a reserve area of Binigtacan. Part of the 11,000 hectares of forest is found at Subic Bay. The park was created by the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority to supplement the income of the indigenous people. The term Pamulaclacan was derived from the native Ambala language, which means a herbal vine. Shipwrecks of Subic Bay. The majority of the wrecks in Subic Bay are a result of either the Spanish-American War in 1898 or of World War II, where a number of Japanese vessels were sunk by American aircraft. El Capitan was a freighter of nearly 3,000 tons, just under 130 meters long. She sank in Subic Bay, where she rests on a sloping bottom. Hellship or Yoku Maru. On the 15th of December 1944, she had 1,619 American, British and Czech prisoners of war on board when she was sunk, under heavy bombardment by American fighters while on her way from Subic Bay to Japan. She was less than half a kilometer off the Alava Pier when attacked. About 300 prisoners died during the short voyage from Manila and during the attack. Cian Maru. During an air raid on Subic Bay, the 3,712-ton freighter Cian Maru was bombed and sunk. This was only 4 days after the sinking of the Yoku Maru on the 19th of December 1944. LSD. This is one of the large LSDs that litter the floor of Subic Bay. She was scuttled in 1946 in the middle of Subic Bay between the southern tip of the runway and Grande Island. The old US New York, which had been renamed the US Rochester in 1917. At the onset of the Japanese invasion of the Philippines, this ship was acting as a floating workshop and storehouse. Already decommissioned, the armored hull of the old cruiser was considered too valuable to allow Japanese forces to capture it, so the ship was scuttled in December 1941 by American forces. San Quintin. During the Spanish-American War in 1898, the Spanish scuttled the San Quintin in the hope of blocking the passage between Grande Island and Chiquita Islands near the mouth of Subic Bay.